So, I actually wasn't planning on filming a video today, but then I realized it was Sunday and I post on Tuesdays and I don't like filming the day of or the day before because then I'm just stressed out. So I have to film today. So if I'm not as eloquent or articulate as I like to be, sorry, but I don't know, I don't have anything else to say. I have like 21 books to get through. I really hope this isn't longer than 20 minutes. I'm gonna try to speed through as many books as I can in a short amount of time, but oh, I didn't even tell you what this video is about. You read it in the title. It's my May and June wrap-up, so yeah. Let's just get into it so we don't have to waste any more time. So, May was the Asian Readathon, which is hosted by Cindy from Read with Cindy. And so for the entire month of May, I read books by Asian authors. So, yeah, these are the books that I read for the Asian Readathon. The first of which was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. This was, like, the group book, I believe. And I also had, like, a separate message chain with Cindy talking about it, because we were better reading it for, like, the first read of the month. And I ended up giving this book 3.5 out of 5 stars, more like a 3.75 or 4, but whatever. I enjoyed it, I just really wanted to like it more. Basically, it's like a suburban drama. We're following this family named the Richardsons, and there's like stuff with them going on, and then a new family comes in, a mother and a daughter, and they are black, and it takes place in the 70s, I believe, or the 80s, in this like rural town in Ohio. And so the family that comes in, the Warrens, sort of start to shake things up a little bit, and then there's also a Chinese woman who is dealing with the custody of her baby, and there's like adoption stuff going on. It's a whole thing. But I really wanted to like this book more than I did, but I read this and then immediately watched the show on Hulu with Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington, and I liked the show infinitely better than the book. I would give the show like 5 stars. I only gave this like 3.5. So, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I definitely had fun reading it. It was very addicting. I read it in like a day. It's also very short. But, I don't know, there just was nothing really super special about it. I don't know. It was very annoying sometimes. Like, I don't like omniscient narration, and this book had that. The chapters were very long, which normally I don't mind, but they were also just so, not like dull, but just heavy. Like, there were a lot of words on every page, and it was very, I feel like it was both too explainy and not showy, but also too showy and not explainy. I don't really know what my feelings are about this book. They're very jumbled. I feel like I would like to reread this book sometime in the future to really solidify my thoughts. But for now, I enjoyed it. Cindy enjoyed it way better than I did, which I feel like is a common occurrence, as I had 2 other buddy reads with her this month, which I'm gonna get into. But yeah, I liked it. I would recommend it, but it just wasn't personally for me. Then I read the first 3 books in the Ember in the Ashes series by Sabaa Tahir. I gave these books all 5 out of 5 stars. So there is an Ember in the Ashes, a Torch Against the Night, and a Reaper at the Gates. So I'm not gonna hold all these up. I'm just gonna hold up the first book, An Ember in the Ashes. So, An Ember in the Ashes is about a girl named Laya who lives with her family, and then one day there's a raid on her household, and her grandmother and her grandfather are killed, and her brother is taken away, and so she goes underneath the part of the empire that she lives in called Sarah, and she finds this rebel group, and she agrees to spy on the commandant of Blackcliff Academy, who is a very cutthroat, evil woman, in exchange for the rebel group looking to find her brother and bring him back to her. And then the other perspective that we have is Elias, who is a student at Blackcliff Academy and is the son to the commandant, and he has a best friend named Helene, and basically he, Helene, and 2 other students get embroiled in this competition to determine the next emperor. This is such a fantastic fantasy book. This entire series blew me away from start to finish. I was texting Chanel about it the entire time I was reading it because she gave it 5 stars and I was just like raving about it to her. I was like, oh my god, you were right, this book is so good. I immediately read the next 2 books in the series. Oh my god, they were so amazing. Literally one of my new favorite fantasy series of all time. I cannot wait for book 4, and I just love this series so much. I say if I would have to rank them, I would probably say An Ember in the Ashes is my favorite, then A Reaper at the Gates, and then A Torch Against the Night. In A Torch Against the Night and A Reaper at the Gates, we get the additional POV of Helen, and just, we get to see a lot. It's a wonderful fantasy story. I'm never gonna shut up about it. It's amazing. Please go read it. After that, I read a book that I had very opposite opinions on, and that is The Kiss Quotient by Helen Hoang. I'm literally not going to talk about it at all. I'm not even going to give a synopsis because I have an entire 30-minute rant review of this book. But I gave it 2 stars, didn't like it. My review's in the description, so yeah. Moving on. The next 2 books I read were a complete duology. I read Warcross and Wildcard by Marie Lu. I had read Wildcard I think 2 years ago, and I reread it in order to finally get to Wildcard, which I had been putting off since it came out, but I loved these books. I gave Warcross 4.5 out of 5 stars and Wildcard 3.75 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it as much, but I still really, really enjoyed it. Basically, the series is about a girl named Amika Chen, and it's around 10 years in the future, and everyone is obsessed with this game called Warcross, which was created by a 11-year-old genius named Hideo Tonica, and basically it's a virtual reality sort of gamified version of Capture the Flag. And Amika one day accidentally hacks herself into the opening game. She's down on her luck. She's has a couple days to earn money before she's evicted from her New York City apartment. She takes bounties in order to gain some money. But then when she hacks herself in, she gets a call from the creator of the game, Hideo, and he is offering her to spy for him. He invites her to come to Tokyo to compete in the Warcross games in exchange for her spying on someone that is trying to take the game down. So, yeah. It's a fantastic book. I loved it. I feel like if you like Rereads by Marissa Meyer, you will love this series. I definitely liked Warcross better than Wildcard, but I still really enjoyed both of them. I love this series so much. It's so good. It's so amazing. It's so fun. You will be on the edge of your seat the entire time. It is so addicting. I think I read Warcross in 2 sittings. It's just so good. And I can definitely imagine myself rereading both of these books many times in the future. After that, I read another series. I read Furthermore and Whichwood by Tahir and Mafi. These are the last Tahir and Mafi books that I had to read before finishing all her books. As you guys know, I love the Shattered Me series. I talk about it so many times on my channel. I really love A Very Large Expanse of Sea, and I really loved both of these books as well. I gave both of them 4 out of 5 stars. The first book, they are companion novels. Book 1 follows a girl named Alice, who lives in this town called Farronwood, and she has no color, as you can see. She is, just a blank canvas. But then one day, her father goes missing, and she gets the opportunity to travel to this world called Furthermore in order to find him, and she goes on a quest with a boy named Oliver through this magical land. It is so good. I loved it. It's so whimsical. If you like Alice in Wonderland, definitely read this. I just loved it. It's very nonsensical, so if that's not your thing, maybe you don't pick it up, but I would still recommend it. It's so good. And then Whichwood follows a girl named Laylee, who is a mortishore in this town that she lives in called Whichwood, which is a town that's very snowy and stuff like that, as you can tell from the cover. But she basically washes dead bodies for a living in order to prepare them for burial, and she basically comes into contact with Alice and Oliver, and they go on a quest to help Laylee as she is starting to turn silver because of the taxing work that comes with being a more short. I literally just spit, but it's fine. Yeah, I loved both of these books so much. I think they were literally so magical. I will definitely be rereading these in the future. Tahereh and Mafi has such a way with words that completely blows me out of the water every single time. They're amazing. And even if you don't read middle grade very often, I think you will love these because they are just so, so, so good. Her writing is beautiful, the characters are amazing, the world is amazing. Oh my god. Then, since I was in a Tahereh and Mafi mood, I reread Imagine Me. I have an entire reading blog where I talked about this book, so I will link it in the description. I'm not really going to go into many things, as I do have like basically a full review up for it. It was amazing. I loved it. 5 out of 5 stars. What else do I have to say? Then, since I was still in a Tahereh and Mafi mood, this is actually the first book that I finished in June, and I read it on audiobook this time. I read A Very Large Expanse of Sea by Tahereh and Mafi. Reread it, actually. This is my 3rd time reading the book. I have a reading vlog from, 2018. It was my first Booktubeathon Day vlog from 2018, which I can link in the description if you're interested. But I read an arc of this book, then last year, around the same time, around this time last year, I read the ebook, for fun, throughout school, because I was bored. And then I read the audiobook this time, so I read it in a different format every single time I read it. But, yeah. I'm also not really going to go into much about this book, as you can see, my full thoughts in that reading vlog. But I loved it. I thought it was so good. I absolutely love Tahereh and Mafi. And I think this is, one of the most important books that anyone could read. And I would really recommend it to everybody. It's so powerful. It is just amazing. Then I read Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, which is the sequel to Passenger, which I have right there. I really enjoyed this. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, something like that. It is basically, the first book, is about a girl named Ahdieh who is a violin prodigy, and she finds out that she has the ability to time travel. She meets up with a sailor from 1770-something, named Nicholas, and they go on this quest to find something called the Astrolabe, which this crazy guy is trying to find because it can open passages which lead into different points in time. So it's a time travel quest, treasure hunt through time. It was definitely slow. Alexandra Bracken's writing is very heavy. It's just, there's so much. It takes a lot to get through her writing. It's just, a lot. And I don't know why, but it's just, she has so many descriptions. Sometimes her writing can get very bogged down by it. Ew, that was so disgusting, I'm sorry. But, I have read the first 2 books in the Darkest Minds series, and I obviously read Passenger, and I read The Dreadful Tale of Prosper Redding, and I only really see it in Passenger. I understand that there's a lot of things that go into making a time travel book. You have to, establish things and rules and stuff, and, you have to describe things, because, I don't know about you, but I have never been to, the 1500s Vatican City, but, yeah, there's a lot of descriptions that are needed, but there are also a lot that she puts in that are not needed. So, yeah, I feel like this book could have easily been cut down by 50 to 100 pages, just from unnecessary descriptions. But then at the end, there was something that the main character Nicholas was going to do that was just talked about and it wasn't actually shown, and I feel like that was just that could have been a really interesting thing. So whatever, I enjoyed it, it was fine, I don't have any ill feelings towards it. So yeah, I would definitely read more Alexandra Bracken in the future, and I am planning on reading whatever she comes out with, so yeah. Oh, okay, so then I reread another book. I reread The Beautiful by Renée Ahdieh. I read this book last year as an ARC. I still don't have a finished copy, so love that for me. I'm definitely gonna get one at some point, but I love this book. I know so many people don't like it, but I love it. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. It is about a girl named Celine. It takes place in 1872 in New Orleans, and we follow a woman named Celine who has just come back from Paris. She's on a boat from Paris to New Orleans, and she worked as a dressmaker. She fled her atelier after a mysterious thing happened, which you learn more about. Throughout the novel, she comes with her friend Pippa, and they go to stay at the Ursuline Convent, which is a convent. And then she and Pippa basically become embroiled in something called the La Cour des Lions, which is the Court of Lions. And she meets a man named Sebastian, and then these murders start occurring. These girls start dying, and there are these mysterious symbols left near their bodies. And Celine puts herself up for the job to discover what is going on. And it's a vampire book. There aren't a lot of vampires in this book, but there will be in the sequel. So, yeah, I'm very excited for the sequel. I reread this in preparation for the sequel, and which is coming out on the 7th. Yeah, I really don't know what else I'm saying. Actually, since I'm posting this on Tuesday, the sequel, The Damned, is already out. So, pick it up from your local bookstore. I'm definitely going to be doing so, because I cannot wait to see how this story continues. Yeah. Then I read One Dark Throne by Kendare Blake, which is the sequel to Three Dark Crowns. I read Three Dark Crowns around this time last year, and I decided to pick up the sequel. It is about 3 queens, Katarine, Mirabella, and Arsinoe, and they live in this island called Fenburn, and basically, every couple years there is a set of triplet queens that are born, and when they turn 16, they have to fight to the death to determine the next queen. And the first book was more character-driven, it was more slow, getting introduced to the characters, and this book is the actual duel part. And then there are 2 more books after it that sort of deal with the aftermath, and I'm really excited to get to those. But, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I give it 4 out of 5 stars. I love the world, I love the characters. The writing I'm not too crazy about. It's good, but it's very dialogue-heavy, and unlike what my problems were with Wayfarer, I feel like there's not enough descriptions in this book. And I'm easily, like, confused. I'm like, what is she doing? Like, it's very, what's the word? It's, like, very straight to the point. Like, there's not a lot of explanations, really. It's just sort of boom, 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 boom. Like, it goes from one plot point to the other. And while it can be slow, the writing is never slow. Does that make any sense? Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'm definitely going to be continuing on with the series. I enjoyed it enough to give it 4 stars. So I definitely liked it. I love the story, and I love the characters. So, I mean, that's like the driving force for me, but the writing I'm not crazy about. It could definitely use some improvements, but it's nothing that really, like, hinders my experience. Except when I'm, like, confused as hell. But other than that, I think it's good, I would recommend it, and I think it's a really well-crafted fantasy story. Then I finally read Winter by Marissa Meyer, which is the 4th and final book in the Lunar Chronicles. I started the Lunar Chronicles in 2019, like January. Then I read Scarlet and Cress January of this year. I mentioned it in a wrap-up, which I'll link in the description. And then I finally got to this. It's 800 pages long. It took me like 5 days to read, but I finished it on my birthday, and it was like the perfect book to finish on my birthday. My birthday's on the 15th, and I was like, I'm gonna finish Winter. It's just gonna be really fun, because I know I'm gonna enjoy it, and I did. I really, really loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Honestly, I think it's my favorite book in the series. I know a lot of people love Cress, but I wasn't really crazy about Cress. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't like, oh my god, it was so amazing, like, to me. I thought this book was really great. We focused on Cinder and Kai a lot, which I loved. It's a huge book. Like, it's so hard to talk about this in a couple of sentences, but it's amazing. It was pretty slow in the beginning. I do think its size was necessary, so at least that's good. But I loved his characters. I loved the way that Marissa Meyer brought the Snow White retelling to the surface for this book. So, yeah, I think it was really well crafted. It's a great finale. And I cannot wait to read Fairest and Stars Above. So, yeah, I know you're supposed to read Fairest before this, but I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I feel like it spoils something that you find out in this book, so yeah. The only gripe I have with this book, really, is the Bible pages. Disgusting. When will publishers learn that we hate Bible pages, and they're disgusting, and they are the worst. Like, literally, they just make me so mad. Because then you turn, like, 12 pages at a time, and then you didn't even realize that you missed, like, a chapter. Whatever. Okay, so the next book that I read was Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare, which is the 3rd book in the Infernal Devices series. Blah, blah, blah. You know what this is about. It's a Shadowhunter book. Do I really have to explain it? It takes place in London. Things go on. Shadowhunters fighting. Dresses. Victorianness. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. The epilogue was like, ooh. But I also knew basically what was going to happen, so it wasn't too shocking. Just because over the years I've gotten spoiled for it. I mean, this book came out in, like, what, 2013? I'm bound to have been spoiled for some things. But I enjoyed it. I liked it. I was bored at times. Hello. It's, like, almost 600 pages. But I thought it was good. Definitely not my favorite Shadowhunter book. What the hell? But, not my least favorite. I know, I'm just such a great book reviewer, guys. You just love to see it. Then I read City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which is the 6th and final book in the Mortal Instruments series. She a thick girl. I think this book is like 720 pages, so much longer than Clockwork Princess. But funnily enough, I read this quicker than Clockwork Princess. I actually enjoyed this book more than Clockwork Princess. Don't at me. I just liked the way that the characters were included in this book. I don't love all the characters in the Infernal Devices. Like, I literally couldn't give less of a crap about, like, Gabriel and Gideon and, like, no. Like, I don't care. I don't like Jessamine either, or Sophie, really. I'm pretty sure I'm hurting a lot of people, but I don't care. But I like all the characters in this book that we focused on. I like Clary, like Jace, Alec, Isabel, Simon, Magnus. Yeah, I was sort of just cruising along, here for the journey for this book, so didn't have any problems with it. I enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Really liked it. Liked how things ended up, but I feel like the vanquishing of the villain was a little too quick for my taste. So yeah. But definitely one of, like, the best villains that I've read in literature so far. So, yeah. Props to you, Cassie. Also, I know that a lot of people really dislike, Cassie Clare for reasons that I don't really understand, but whatever. I don't care if you dislike me because I like her. Do whatever you want. Then I read The Bane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. Gave this book 2.5 stars. I really don't want to go into it. It just is a bunch of random pieces of Magnus's life. I like Magnus, but I don't give a crap about this book. It was bad. Moving on. So I read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy after that, which is by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Reese Brennan, Maureen Johnson, and Robin Wasserman. Gave this 3 stars. These are probably my least favorite Shadowhunter books. I just don't like short story collections very much, because I know they don't have any stake. Like, you know everything's gonna end up fine, so, like, what's the point? Like, why do I care? Why should I care is the question. I was just so bored throughout both of these books. Like, okay, even in the Kiss Quotient, I was at least... It was bad enough that I could laugh at it. These were just boring, and that's, like, the worst. So I was skim reading. I was reading as fast as my eyes could, because I just wanted to be done. And this book is so friggin' long. I think it's, like, 650 pages. We didn't need that. Like, no. No. Just, no. Also, the things that suck, I can't even tell you what these books are about, because they, like, spoil everything in the actual series, so, like, what's the point of me talking about them? Ugh, I literally just... Okay, we're down to the last 2 what the hell? This is 4. We're down to the last 2 books. The next one that I read was This Is How You Lose the Time War by... Who was it by? Amal Al-Mohtar and Max Gladstone. I couldn't remember the second author's name. But, I buddy read this with Cindy from Read with Cindy. She gave it 5 stars, I gave it 3 stars. This doesn't make any sense, because, like, Cindy and I like the same things in books, we generally like the same books, like usually, so I don't know what the heck is going on, but yeah. I liked it. It was fine. It's basically a novella time travel story following two secret agents. Things start happening, stuff goes down, there's people in it. It was very confusing to me. I kept texting her, I was like, this literally just, everything is going over my head. Don't understand what is going on. So either I'm just stupid, or this was confusing on purpose. I'd like to think it was the latter option, but I don't know. Truly. But yeah, it was fine. I don't really have anything to say on it. I feel very lukewarm about it. So yeah, I'd recommend it, maybe, but I'm just not the biggest fan of novellas. So yeah. I feel like this book could have easily been like 500 pages long, but it wasn't, so I just feel super meh about it. Then the final book that I read was Tithe by Holly Black. This is the, collection of all 3 books in the Modern Fairy Tale series, as well as like another short story. But I read this on like the last day of the month. This is one of the books I got for my birthday. I'm gonna be doing a haul of like everything I've gotten since Christmas, like from Christmas and since then, which should be coming sometime. But yeah, I liked this book. It was so short though. I ended up giving it 3 stars. It was so short. Like, it's a little over 200, I think it's like exactly 260 pages, but like things were happening and we were like chugging along, but it was just so fast. Like, this book could have easily been 400 pages long, like a normal book size. This could have easily been like as long as The Cruel Prince, but it wasn't, so I think that hindered my experience. Also, this book was written in like 2002, I believe, and you can tell it was written in 2002, so there were just tropes and things, not my personal favorite, but not bad. I know a lot of people were like disliking this book that have read it recently since this repackaging came out. I don't have any ill feelings towards it. It was mediocre. I enjoyed it, gave it 3 stars, and I will be reading the last 2 books in the series. So yeah, I really liked it. It's basically about a girl named Kay who lives with her mother. She's like, her mom's freaking crazy. Then Kay comes upon this like fairy prince and she gets embroiled in like fairy politics, stuff like that. So yeah, it was good. Don't really have much to say, but yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. I had fun reading it. It was a very quick read, so if you're looking for something to just breeze through where you can like kind of shut off your brain for a little while, I would definitely recommend this one. Especially if you like sort of low fantasy things, because it's partially set in New Jersey, so yeah. But yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it if you've made it this far. I'm going to try to cut it down as short as possible, but if I can't, I'm sorry if it's super long. But that is it. I will try not to combine 2 months again because it's really like hell to do. So I'm going to try to do individual months from now on, like month wrap-ups. But that is it. I hope you enjoyed. There are Black Lives Matter resources, information in the description. All the videos I mentioned, all my social media, all the books I mentioned are in there, so definitely check it out. But yeah, that's it. I post videos on Tuesdays, and goodbye.